So this is the first video of the objection handling modules, okay? So we're going to be going through key objections that people face. Need to speak to my partner, financial and price, lack of interest, uncertainty, time, schedule, and how to actually close the membership and collect the deposit and things like that, okay? Really important, if you haven't already, I repeat, do not watch this video until you have gone through at least these four here, okay? Go through these four, you'll understand the actually irrelevance of objection handling. Regardless, objections do occur, so we're going to go through them, okay? First one being, need to speak to the partner, okay? What is it, and how do we navigate this when people say that, okay? Look, the purpose is we're going to tie down this certainty on the program first, so we know that it's not a smoke screen, okay? Gather intel about the spouse and partner. What is their involvement with the decision, things like that. Then we use that intel, that information, to help the prospect to see the spouse will likely support the decision, and if necessary, we get a commitment, okay? Never let someone leave without a commitment. You're better off getting a no than a maybe, okay? And that's a big one. I'm going to say that again. You're better off getting a no than a maybe, okay? So step one is isolate and tie down. So you're going to say things like, so aside from letting your husband and wife know, is there anything else keeping you from being less than 100% sure that this is what you want to do, right? Again, you can word that more naturally than you like, okay? So, and you want to ask things like, I totally get that and respect that. Just so I'm clear, is this a respect thing, meaning you're asking for respect because you're going to join regardless, or do you actually need their permission to move forward with things like that, okay? So you're figuring out who is the decision maker in the thing, okay? Then we're gathering information with key questions like this, okay? Then we're kind of bridging the thing. It's like, well, you gathered enough intel, you gathered enough information here. Mind if I share thoughts with you? Look, it sounds like your spouse is supportive, and at the end of the day, whatever the decision you make, it's your health, confidence, and things. You're kind of going to be the best person for that. So if I were you, since you already know this is what you want, I'd get you started today. I can lock you in on a cheap thing, things like that, and get you training. Look, I get if you go home, your spouse is upset that you've decided to invest in something to becoming better, stronger, and tie in their desired outcomes, right? Which, again, I highly doubt, right? I've never had that thing before happen. But if it does, for whatever reason, look, I'll refund you 100%. No stress on my end. I just know that the chances are that they'll be proud that you take that first step, okay? Think how much better of a response that is compared to just going, oh, okay, you can check with your wife when you get back, okay? You first isolated and tied it down. You really figured out, is it a respect thing? Is it a permission thing? Okay? Then you kind of at least made the attempt to bridge the gap there. Okay? So if they insist on talking to their spouse here, it's like, look, acknowledge, yeah, look, I got a missus as well. I got a wife as well. I got a husband as well. Like, I completely understand that, right? I'm using the spouse as an example here, right? The last thing I would want to do is put you in an uncomfortable position. So what I want to do, why don't we just put down some sort of deposit so at least I've locked in your thing. We've got limited spots, create urgency, create scarcity, okay? So you could get the close if the deposit won't fly, okay? Or if nothing else works, always follows up. When do you think you'll be able to speak to your spouse? I think this is a big one. I'm going to highlight this in yellow. If all else fails, when do you think you'd be able to speak to your spouse? Okay, get a time. Don't just go, oh, maybe tomorrow. No, like figure out when can they actually speak to the person. Got it. We don't want them to lose momentum with things, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to follow up tomorrow, all right? Now remember, the goal outcomes here, collect a deposit, set a follow-up. You collect a commitment without a charge, so collect their credit card information without charging them. Set up a follow appointment and keep the lead alive, okay? Really basic stuff here, but I hope there's a bit of value in these things of like isolating, figuring out, is it a smokescreen, is it not? Getting clear, is it a respect thing, is it a permission? Gather the required information through asking open-ended questions like this. Bridge the gap and get really clear, okay? And then look, if they insist on doing it, you've got different scenarios to fall back on, okay? This is how to objection handle needing to speak to the partner. Now, if there's any other tips that you haven't heard from your own experience, please share them in the community. Remember, when you win, someone else wins. When someone else wins, you win, okay? Remember, we're always looking to build out better resources for everybody here. So put it in the community. Or maybe you try this objection in here. For example, you did the isolate and tie down and you did that, and you ended up closing that person that you wouldn't have done not following this resource. We want to hear about it, okay? So let's get after there. Let's get some more members signed up.